Watch and burn.
Hey everybody. So I am just wondering, is the Trailer Park Boys done and finished with? Like, I don't think they're going to do any more seasons, unfortunately, because of John Dunsworth passing away a few years back. So I don't think that would even be right. I mean, on one hand, you could make the argument that maybe George Green could step in and become the new uber villain of Sunnyvale, because especially after the nightmare that he created for the boys in season 12, you could see them sort of justifying bringing George Green back. But then George Green, I don't know. I don't think that would necessarily be maybe the most respectful thing to do either, because Leahy was the ultimate villain. Leahy was so unhinged, and my God, the amount of liquor that man could consume was just uncanny, and it made him so genuinely crazy, and the madness that ensued as the result of Leahy's drinking was just so endlessly entertaining that I don't even know if like they also had Randy attempt in season 11 to be more of the villain, like he was trying to be a police officer, and I don't know. I don't really know if that would make sense either, because overall Randy's just too nice of a character. So I could kind of understand it if the show, like there is no season 13 because of John Dunsworth having passed away. That does make sense. And I know that, you know, a lot of people were concerned with how they were going to handle the character of Jim Leahy concerning the animated series. Initially, I know a lot of the fan base felt like if there's any kind of like AI Leahy being used, so to speak, that they were like, we're fucking out of here. And they managed to not do that. So there's probably a way for them to shoehorn a new season somehow. But then at the same time, it does feel ultimately disrespectful just because of the importance of Jim Leahy, and considering that he's not going to be around anymore. Maybe it is best that they just lay it to rest. But then that got me thinking that they could do another Out of the Park, because they did Out of the Park Europe and then they did Out of the Park USA, and I would personally love to see them do Out of the Park Canada, because, you know, what a great way to bookend it. They get their passports taken from them by Mayhew over in Europe, and they're pretty much starving to death, only to come to the United States to have Mayhew just sort of let them do whatever they want, because they can't really control them as well. SquareNet isn't able to control the boys because they could just hitchhike their way back to Canada. So Out of the Park USA seemed a little more wide open in that sense, whereas when they were in Europe, they felt trapped, and I felt trapped with them, you know? And we're going to a place, does anybody else see the irony in the fact that we're going to a place called Helsinki when we are in fact sinking into hell? You know, and that's what made Europe so great, was the fact that they were so disconnected and they were so trapped. But then that was the thing that amped up USA, the Out of the Park USA, was the fact that they could do whatever they wanted because the US and Canada are landlocked. And so, yeah, they could just say, fuck it, like they discussed doing in the second episode. It is the second episode, I think, where they fucking Julian takes the big ass goofy truck out, driving around like he thinks he's some kind of muscular evil Knievel, but he's not. He's just a drunk guy with no skills. I think that was the second episode. And so they're just like, fuck this, I'll just hitchhike home. But then if they were to do Out of the Park Canada, I feel like, you know, doing a trilogy of Out of the Parks would make a lot of sense. And just selfishly enough, I would love to see that, because of 2 out of the 3 Trailer Park Boys absolutely love hockey. And considering that Canada is one massive hockey country, they could work that in. And I think that could be a lot of fun, because I really hope that there's something coming down the pipe. Maybe even another series of live videos like they did live in Austin, live in Ireland. Dublin, sorry. Well, Dublin is in Ireland, but you know what I mean. Live in Dublin, live in Austin, and then live at the North Pole. I think they're in Minnesota for that. They could throw up a few more of those, because I don't know. Are they still under contract to Netflix? I really have no idea. But they could do something like that. I mean, I'd like to see more live releases from them, or goddamn, an Out of the Park Canada would be amazing. And yeah, so what do you guys think? Do you think the Trailer Park Boys are done? Because I know they're still doing Park After Dark, and Randy's Reach concluded the first season. There's like 20 episodes, so they're staying on top of things in that regard. And so if you have the SwearNet app, you can always be taking part in some kind of new material from the Trailer Park Boys, namely Park After Dark, which is absolutely brilliant. But I would like to see another Out of the Park from them. That would be amazing. But I think that's where I'm going to leave it. So thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little under 5 minutes while I discussed whether or not the Trailer Park Boys are finished, or if whether or not there is something else coming from them. Because I know they were just on the news again as of like mid-June, about they'd launched their new flavor of chip, Wavy Plain, at Giant Tiger here in Canada, and like 1,000 people showed up. So I know a lot of people still care about the Trailer Park Boys, and God willing, that gives them the incentive to do something else. Please do another Out of the Park. Do an Out of the Park South America then. That would be really good. But look, I'm leaving. You guys are amazing. I'm getting out of here. Have a good night.